Hi YouTube, Anthony here. I don't normally do YouTube videos, but I normally watch them. But I thought I've seen that many videos on how to do this, and I've actually done mine and perfected it after trial and error. I thought it's only fair that I share you my video on how to do it, and hopefully you'll do it the way I do it, as it works perfectly. As you can see, the bubbles are there, going constant now for 4 days. The videos I've seen on YouTube are either too long or too short, or do pictures or time frames or loads of writing over it and you just get lost in it. So basically this is like a video to try and answer all the questions that the other videos don't. If I don't cover it, I'm sorry, just inbox me, I'll give you an answer for it. So basically my first trial was put the pipes in with silicone, which is the best one I could get, which is that aqua. That is no good because it can't handle the pressure, and that's what it's all about, the pressure. If you don't have pressure, you don't get constant bubbles, so you get pressure leakage. So what I did is I went out and bought a glue gun from like a £1+ shop. It was only £4 I think it was. So basically I've got glue on top of the lids, both lids, and then loads underneath both of the lids which you can't see, and then got some blue tack as a precaution, rolled it out thin and then lined the inside of the cap, so when you screw it down it gives you a better seal. This is just because I've noticed they don't put them silicone inserts in the inside of the lids anymore. I guess that's because a child choked on it or something and the parents weren't happy and sued someone, so they don't do it no more. I don't have a clue. So that's what I do. So what I do is see the pipe in there, it just goes into about 1 inch. You don't want any more than that, otherwise the gas will just take longer to go through. I use as little pipe as I can, so the gas will get through a lot quicker. And this one goes over halfway into this small bottle, which is filled with just normal water, about 3/4 of the way or so. This acts as a bubble counter, which you can see, 1 per second, which is good. Some might disagree, but this is what I've been told. Also acts as like a filter, a reservoir to clean out any unwanted gases that may be harmful to the fish. And then again I've got another pipe there that goes in about 1 inch, the same as the big bottle, and then comes back out, comes back down into this glass diffuser, which I bought off eBay for about £3. This works really well, as you can see. You can buy another, it's a similar thing that goes at the top of your tank, which catches all the little bubbles, because if you've read about it, which I urge you to do, the longer the bubbles are in the water the better, because it dissolves more and it's better for the plant food, the plant growth and the plant colour, so it dissolves more, so all the little bubbles go up and it collects a big bubble, like I said, and it keeps it in the water for longer. But what I did is got me missus's CD case and cut it up. She's not going to be happy, but who cares. Glued some suction cups to it and stuck it to the tank, got the angles right, put it on like a hill. As you can see, all the bubbles are rising up, some are even flicking off because of my hang-on filter, which has got like a waterfall, so when the water comes underneath it got like a vortex or whatever you want to call it. You can just see them, that bigger bubble on the surface of the water. It's not burst because it's spinning. So these rise up, these bubbles, and they collect under there, so that's even better, so they're dissolving even more and just go along the surface. The setups for these, the reason why you do DIY is because the cheapest ones I've seen is £90, and depending on the size of your tank you may need a bigger bottle, and the ones I've seen that are only good enough is probably about £300. No one really wants to pay that. I certainly don't, 'cause I'm a cheap ass. I only need 1 bottle of this 2 litre bottle because my tank's only 3 foot long. Any bigger you probably need another bottle to make up. I'll go through the recipe with you in a sec. As you can see, my plants are green, nice and vibrant. That's a tree that I made, took me a while. This sand here represents like a river, and then it goes up to my waterfall, which I also made. If you want to know how I made that, just inbox me or whatever. You can see it works. I've not turned it on fully because I'm about to turn it off. That's just done by an air hose. Everything's pretty much DIY on here. The lights, got them off eBay, £5 each. The highly powered but low wattage, and they are energy saving bulbs, so they're better than your average fish tank light. They're attached to a floating shelf which can be removed, but I'm not needed to. I've also built a cupboard itself out of some wood that was in the loft. I think it was an old dresser or something to whoever lived here last. So pretty much everything's DIY. If you want the best out of your plants, as you know, photosynthesis takes a big part in it. So I have a timer underneath, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. That's what your plants need. It's all part of the process. You don't believe it, these plants are only 4 weeks old, and look at the size of them ones, and these smaller ones are like cut-offs that I've done, and they've grown a lot too. So basically, back to the recipe. All I do, well, I've been told to use two cups, 3 cups, 4 cups of sugar, but I'll show you the way I do it and the way it works. These are the slim cups, not the big fat ones everyone seems to drink out of. I do 2 cups of sugar of that, doesn't matter what sugar it is. People go on about brown sugar, cane sugar, sugar. So 2 of them, and then you got your bicarbonate of soda or baking soda basically. You need 1 teaspoon of that, and then you got your dried active yeast. Mine's in a tin. You can get sachets or whatever you want. We'll go through that step in a minute. The best yeast I've heard to use is champagne yeast, purely for the fact it can handle the higher tolerance of alcohol, whereas supermarket brands, they only can tolerate so much before they die, higher levels or whatever. So you can get that off eBay, or just go in your winery shop or anything, they'll have it. So what you do, get your 2 litre bottle, or 2 of them if you got a bigger tank, and you fill it up 3/4 of warm water. People do that from the tap. I get the warm water from the fish tank. 1, purely because it's already warm. 2, it's got bacteria and nutrients which all help towards the yeast, the growth of the yeast and the fermentation. So that's 3/4 up, and then you get 2 cups of sugar, pour that in with a funnel or whichever you got, measuring jug, and then put your 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, baking soda or whatever, put a lid on it, give it a good shake, and then leave that to settle, because you want to dissolve as much as you can in the water. Whilst that's doing that, you want to wake up the yeast. This is the most critical and important part. This is where people get it wrong. If you don't do this step right, there's just no point in doing it. So what you do, the yeast, you need to get some water, so just run your tap and run it into a cup until it gets to 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So all I do is get my thermometer out my fish tank and put it in a cup and run the hot water through it until it gets to that temperature. Once it reaches that stage, all I do then is just pour half the water out, so I've got half a cup, pour that into a measuring jug, and then I get my yeast. If you got a sachet, just put a full sachet in. If you've got a tin like I do, just do a flat amount of a tablespoon, so that's a bigger spoon, so a flat amount, put that in, whisk it through for at least a minute, so you see how the yeast is like gone into a liquid. There's no more bits. It doesn't matter if there is a few bits. Then what you need to do then, you need to get a towel, and then you need to cover up the measuring jug so it blocks off the light. Daft as it sounds, you need to wake the yeast up so it works better in the dark. So to get that fermentation going quicker, you put a towel over it all and you leave it for 5 minutes, or even longer if you want, but 5 minutes is fine. That's what I do. Whilst that's happening, give your bottle another shake, your big bottle, and then just put it near your fish tank ready. And then once that, you go back and get your measuring jug, just pour it in, screw all your lids on tight. Whatever you do, don't shake your bottles because you'll just overkill the yeast, which I've learnt. Just no point of doing it. You just need to let it build up pressure itself, because the fermentation is like a bacteria and it just gradually like multiplies over and over. So I normally get bubbles between 10 to 15 minutes. You'll see like a bubble coming through, and as you can see at the bottom of that pipe, see the bubbles just coming up, and then the pressure will build, and then it's got nowhere else to go. If everything's airtight, it will come out the way mine is. As you can see, I've got no check valves, stop valves, or non-return valves, or whatever you want to call them, like the other videos. This is purely because my bottles are at the side of the tank and my tank won't filter back into the bottles, purely because if the water level's the same height in the bottles as it is in the tank, it's not going to backfill. But I recommend you use these valves if you're going to put them underneath your tank, which I don't recommend, because if they're at the side of the tank, you can, as you can see, it's easy access. You can see what's happening, you can keep an eye on your bubble counter. Once the bubbles have run out, you'll notice a decrease in bubbles. You'll get at least 3 weeks out of it, maybe 4 if you're lucky, depending how well you've woke up the yeast. I just empty the contents of the big bottle, and I'd leave a small amount, because you get a gathering at the bottom. I don't think you'll be able to see, but you get a small amount, so you leave that, and that's the yeast. So next time you do it, it'll make another mix. Your yeast will wake up a lot quicker, and it'll just multiply a lot better, and you'll get bubbles even quicker. So it is something I forgot to mention, I'm sorry. Any questions, just ask, inbox me, or whatever it is you do, leave a comment. You can like this video or whatever you want to do. I don't know about subscribing, I don't see the point of it. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.